It's a mean age. But it is going to be a beautiful future as long as we don't f*** it up. I'm Brian McWilliams, and this is Mean Age Daydream, where I bring you unfiltered comedy, criticism, philosophy, and politics with a Mean Age Daydream. Welcome, everybody, to Mean Age Daydream, a special Thanksgiving Day Eve special with very special guests for this. I was like, it used to be called the Thanksgiving Bukkakke, and then I realized I'm probably losing a lot of algorithm with that title for an episode. So I retitled it out of the gravy blasting, and joining me here to blast that gravy are two fantastic people. You guys will know and love them. Of course, number one is Clint Russell, who was not announced in advance. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to join us, but Clint Russell is here from, of course, Liberty to Lockdown, and another show you'd like to. Do you want to tell us about your other show with Luke and where to find it?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief, but it's thebestpoliticalshow.com. You can also find us, all one word, We Are Change, on either YouTube or Rumble. We just signed an exclusive deal effective November 1st, so we go live 3 days a week, and it's going great. We had Vivek Ramaswamy in studio last week. We've had a bunch of huge, high-profile people, and it's going to get far crazier from here.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I have a question about Vivek later on, so I'll ask that. And, of course,
he doesn't smell like curry,
Wait,
if that's your question.
How'd you know?
This isn't the Bukkakke show. Can I change out of my cum-filled pants?
This is still the Bukkakke show, Robbie. And that, of course, is the king of the cocks, Robbie the Fire Bernstein.
Because I was under very specific instructions that if I was going to be on this show, I had to make sure that my pants were very filled with cum.
Wait a minute. You misunderstood the concept. You're not supposed to fill them before the Bukkakke. Have you just been keeping cum and filling your pants with your own cum?
You got to save it up to make sure that there's like a lot of it because there's only going to be three of us. So I thought like you really have to make sure you're bringing a lot too. And like, I shoot like decent loads, but like it's not going to, fill up like a whole face or something. I wanted to make sure, it's a little crusty in there, but I just wanted to make sure. I figured with the fresh cum, it would heat up the old cum and then I'd have a lot and then I could have a really impressive load.
It's kind of like when you heat up like queso dip and half of it's nuclear hot and then you stir it together.
Exactly.
That's what we're dealing with. All right. Well, I
like so graphic. That was so fucked up. What are we doing?
This is exactly what we're meant to be doing. This is what we're here for, the Bukkakke. So yeah, man, it's a Thanksgiving tradition. You get together with friends and family, and you baste your turkey. So here we are, basted. Well, let's kick it off. None of us are drinking. We were talking about this before the show, and I was getting a raft of shit because I asked these guys. It's 1:00 my time on the West Coast. I was asking if anybody here's drinking, and they said no, and made me feel like a piece of shit for being ready for having my whiskey next to me, just in case, my bedroom whiskey. I keep it under the bed in like a gun safe so my wife can't find it or the code.
The emergency nightstand whiskey.
You gotta have it, man.
Yeah,
wake up in the middle of the night.
That's probably my most disgusting life habit is that, I'll brush my teeth like 2 or 3 times a day. It's usually morning and then like before leaving the house and I floss, but never before bed. Because I get into bed with whiskey, and like I want to sip on that in my bed and go to bed straight from sipping on it. So
you can still do that, but brush your teeth first.
No, your mouth's all like minty and stuff. You're ruining.
You should switch to Rumplemints or maybe Ouzo. Maybe you should be
I've already
Rumplemints
admitted that it's my most disgusting habit, and I started the show talking about I have cum in my pants. So I wasn't suggesting that this was a good lifestyle or that this is a better way to live. I was saying it's probably my biggest personality flaw, and I was trying to say that you could feel more comfortable with your alcoholism you have.
If you haven't noticed, I don't need to feel any more comfortable with my alcoholism. I need to be far less comfortable with it, and my wife would agree with me on that.
Right. Fair enough.
I can't believe you're being lectured to by a man who's sitting there with lukewarm cum in his pants. This is insane.
I like to think that Robbie just has wet dreams too, but he knows he's coming on the show, so he's wrapping a little Ziploc bag around the head of his cock with a rubber band, just to make sure he doesn't lose any of that volume.
Man, I jerk off too much for wet dreams. The only time I ever had wet dreams was when I was very religious and living in Israel. I did like a 6-month stretch of like no jerking off, and then every once in a while on Saturdays, the Sabbath, I would take a nap and have the most glorious wet dreams.
Wow.
Oh, man, do I miss those days.
By the way, why are Israeli chicks?
What the fuck is happening? Why is there so many stories about Robbie coming to start this? We've only been doing this for 5 minutes. It's been nothing but stories about him coming.
I love how Clint signed a single Rumble contract, and now he's pretending like he's too good.
I know, too good for this? Yeah, exactly.
Suddenly now he's like, I'm an elite political commentator. How did I get stuck with these pieces of
This isn't
liberty
Tower
garbage?
Gang. I just didn't know that we were going to go this direction. This is it's jarring.
Me and Brian haven't hung out in a while. We got a lot to catch up.
We got a lot to catch up on here, and an immense amount. Plus, we didn't get to see each other. Robbie had to cancel his comedy show when he does the porch tour at my house. He canceled because he was stuck on a tarmac for like 3 straight days.
This is
Did
true.
you? Another question: did you jerk off in the little airplane bathroom since you were just stuck on a plane for 8 hours?
No, because I took a sleeping pill and woke up 3 hours later to discover I was still sitting on the runway.
Oh,
Wow.
It's pretty bad. Yeah.
What a
it's a
nightmare,
depressing way to wake
dude.
up.
Is it by the way, is it like warm enough now that if we wanted to porch tour, we could porch tour?
Yeah, dude, you can porch tour anytime in LA. Yeah,
Yeah,
even
I
when
might,
it's cold, even when it's
same in
cold,
Florida.
it's still warm enough. Yeah.
I might put together another end of year / I might also have an opportunity to film a 30-minute thing in February. And if either of those things come to be, I'm going to start trying to just load up the calendar with whatever the hell I can. So maybe maybe we'll porch tour in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Dude,
down with it.
Florida's fucking beautiful weather all year.
I feel like Florida should be a good market for me. I should be able to just go up and down that coast. But
Agreed.
Of all the shows I've done all like last year, I don't know. I feel like I did okay in Florida. Like there's been some markets where like I just fucking murder, and the Florida shows are like,
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Who knows?
It's weird. That's surprising.
Could have just been I was earlier in the tour, so the shit wasn't that put together. But now I'm talking like some douchey artists. Let's go back to Come Talk.
Well, let me ask you this. So you talk about Israel, right? And it's interesting. Speaking of hot chicks in Israel, Jenna Ortega has she quit Scream 7, I think, because her friend Melissa Barros, I think is her name, had posted something like pro-Palestine, has like a genocide in Gaza, and they let her go. And then Jenna Ortega was like, "Fuck that." And I say, I respect that, but it got me also thinking about hot girls in Israel and you coming in your pants dreaming, and how there's a lot of these hot Israeli chicks doing dances online. Is that selective inbreeding really working out for hot Israeli chicks? And as a secondary follow-up question, what do you guys say with this Jenna Ortega thing?
Israeli Jews are just a different breed of Jew. Like the whiny cunty, my back hurts, my stomach problems. That's American, like Ashkenazi, Eastern European Jews. I don't know where they found these overly aggressive, lie-to-your-face scumbag Jews that live out in Israel, but they're tougher. They'll burn your family. They'll lie to you about cab prices. They'll fight you every which direction. Like they're like the more biblical will rob and steal from you Jews. It's not like the breed that I never liked Israelis. Even when I was out there, they're
Is that what turned you away from religion? You met all these Israelis and you're like,
I'll tell you the mentality of Israelis, which is it's very not American, but the way they see it is if you're not trying to like cheat and steal, you're a sucker. The game is supposed to be played by being as aggressive and cheating and stealing as possible. And so if you're engaging with someone honestly, you're a sucker. And so they play that game with each other and they're okay with it because they're like, you're supposed to like weasel as much as you can possibly weasel. But as a Westerner, you're like, this is fucking, who lives like this? Like, this sucks. Anyways, let's not get too lost in the anti-Semitism here. I try and at least unrun your mouth.
We'll save that for next year's podcast. Let's do a Christmas episode on Christmas. All about anti-Semitism.
Getting back to the Israeli Jews, oh man, there's some like they're brown skinned, big titted. They're totally different breed out there. And the thin 18-year-olds that are in the military.
That's what I'm saying.
Again, I wasn't jerking off when I was out there, so it could be that they're all disgusting looking, but I was 18-year-old and like really juiced up with cum.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've seen these videos of them dancing around. They're in their military outfits doing the nurse TikTok
so
thing.
Upset that he hopped on.
No, this is great. This is like four lengthy stories that tie back to your cum, and it's unbelievable how you continue to loop it back.
Well, we can shift this to like,
don't shift. I haven't even said a fucking word this entire time. You guys just been talking about fucking Robbie's cum. I have a lot to say about this.
Okay.
The Israeli thoughts, the IDF thoughts, they're like, number one, stunning, obviously gorgeous. However, what I've discovered thanks to TikTok is that there's the capacity to like totally take these mid bitches and turn them into dimes. And I think that may be what we're witnessing here. Obviously, they're shapely. They've got great bodies, but like, where they have those perfect faces with the little like the 5 freckles on each cheek, and I'm like, that's a filter.
I'm calling
trend.
bullshit on the same thing that, I'm out here. I'd love to marry a nice little Jewish chick, and they're all disgusting and whiny, and, they're not my type. And then all of a sudden, you got some Raven Israel and hostages, and they're all perfect 10s.
Right.
How is that possible?
It's weird.
Wait a minute. Hear me out. I have a conspiracy theory. The IDF knew that the population was getting too full of uggos. So they had this rave. They invite all these ladies in, and then they selectively allow Hamas to come in on their fan blowers. They take out the uggos. Half the people killed by the IDF in Crossfire, they're targeting the uggos, and now you're left with nothing but hot Israeli poon.
It's an interesting thesis, but I've actually seen the gruesome video footage, and there's a lot of hot rave chicks that were also killed.
So hard to jerk off to the dead bodies, Clint. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
I can't believe you went there.
No, you did. Oh my God! What was the other topic? There was another topic.
When the Ukraine war is over, I mean, how cheap is it going to be to pick up Ukrainian brides now that there's?
I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I don't know, but if there's a market that I want to be in when it comes to human trafficking, it's Ukrainian women.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the best models were all Ukrainian to begin with. Now you could get them heavily discounted. Not only the ones that are put together, but the ones that are missing limbs. You can fit more in a crate to ship them over here. You stack them. Like, who's missing a leg? Who's missing an arm? You fit them together like Lego pieces in the shipping crate.
Your Honor, it's not polygamy. She's disembodied. She has no legs.
Hey,
this other bitch has no arms. It's one woman. Actually,
they together make one lady.
Paul McCartney could have had anyone in the whole world, and he took a no-leg bitch for easier access. So,
and then she divorced him.
Yeah, but I just have to assume that, I wouldn't think that I'd like no legs, but Paul McCartney could have been with anyone, and he actually picked that as the ideal candidate. So,
is that true?
Don't lack no legs till you've tried.
Yeah, she didn't lose her leg with him. He didn't gnaw it off in some sort of weird, ceremony. But I mean, that means Paul McCartney had to have had a fetish, right?
No, I would just assume you can have sex from all sorts of angles that you and I haven't even considered.
Oh, I've considered it. Paul McCartney, the king of the spinners, dude. I had
no idea. Well, okay, so
sorry.
Talking about, let's go to Jen Ortega then, right? I brought this up.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So what do you think? I mean, to me, this is a huge white pill that this chick is willing to kind of go out there, and she's been outwardly conservative libertarian, right? Which you don't see, especially from younger people, but. I mean, she's bold, man, quitting this show in solidarity and basically, free speech. You shouldn't be canceled for these political beliefs, especially in a war that doesn't concern us. So what are you guys' takes? Is this going to catch on?
Well, what I know for a fact is that if Dave Smith were to be fired from Gas Digital, there's no fucking chance in hell. If Robbie was offered the top slot at Part of the Problem, he'd be like, bye, Dave. There's no loyalty here, buddy. So I don't think he can really relate to Ortega.
The idea that there's any money in Part of the Problem without him on the show. I love that concept. Like, the show itself has the audience, and he can leave, and I just get to keep the audience.
No, it's all the platform. It has nothing to do with Dave. If he were to go away, it's still huge numbers. I know that for a fact.
I would sell Dave out to then go back to basically just the run your mouth audience.
All right, good point. Look, I think it's stunning, to be honest. It's so rare to see any level of courage, particularly amongst the Hollywood elite. But I think that there may be a gambit here. Like she's gambling that ultimately public opinion will shift and she'll be on the right side of history, and Hollywood will have to give her all the best deals moving forward to make amends for it. But it's also Hollywood is ran by.
Go ahead.
Who do you think it's run by?
Are you about to make a whoopski joodle?
Clint, the person with the exclusive Rumble contract, who's now the face of conservative media and serious interviews, who can't be around all this cum talk, is trying to say that Hollywood is run by who, Clint?
No,
Hispanics.
Hollywood is run by attorneys and pro-Hispanic caucus.
Yes.
No, look, I just think it's a paradigm shift that I'm happy to see. I would like to see more and more people willingly accepting cancellation and just be like, yeah bitch, let's go. Because I think that's really what this entire industry is the podcast circuit is I'm canceled from everything for the rest of my life, and I'm fucking good with that. Well, so I just want to see tens of thousands of people doing that.
It'd be funny though if with all the actors they just got replaced and the machine moves on. Like it's fun with comedians when they get canceled in a way, or with like I'm all with you that it's best when talent gets canceled and then talent turns around and wins out.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to actors and actresses though,
They're pretty fucked.
Yeah, because you're kind of got lucky to be chosen and then to be hot and then to get the work. Like it's different if you're a content creator, if you're a director, you can get, you know what I mean? If you're Martin Scorsese, you can get canceled by Netflix. Some independent producer with China money is going to give you $100 million to make your next film, and you're going to go make it, and then the system just loses out. But if you're Jenny, I've never heard of Jenny Ortega before. I don't know who the hell she is.
She's in the show Wednesday that's really popular, and in now a bunch of movies. She's hyper popular.
The gothy looking bitch.
Yeah.
It does that creepy dance. I've seen
and by the way,
online.
if she was canceled, if she joined OnlyFans, she would make $2 million tomorrow, overnight. Instantly. I'm not kidding. Instantly. That chick.
I bet she's got a very dark butthole. I bet it's not nice. I think OnlyFans might kill her career.
But Wednesday is a very light-skinned character. I think you might put in her contract. She's got to bleach that going in. Yeah, that's.
Imagine
you got to. Hey, Wednesday, you have to bleach your Pugsley.
Imagine if Robbie's superpower was just that he could just look at a chick's face and be like, "I know exactly the pigment of your butthole." What a weird skill set this guy's got.
I'm trying to think like the phrase the carpet.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah. Does the carpet match the curtains? It's like that with eyeballs and buttholes.
Robbie walks in this Hollywood party. He goes, prove me wrong. He's like, got it wrong again. Next.
Yeah, I think I forgot who I was on a phone call with, but I was saying about like you just start claiming on stage that like you have a giant dick, and then if someone like sleeps with you and goes, it's not that big, you're like, you fucking slut. How many have you seen? Like,
what's your frame of reference?
Yeah, it's like it's a win-win, you know?
No. Okay, so going back to what Clinton was saying, here's the thing. Like, I do think that I think Jen is making a good gambit. I do think that Israel is badly losing the PR war. And they've never been in this position before with all the videos coming out, with public perception, with losing the media narrative, which they had such an iron grip on. They are 100%.
Why did they have a grip on the media narrative?
Oh, I just good PR people. It's certainly not any relationships or any ownership structures that might be out there. But it's like they're losing it. Like I think that Israel right now is making one of the most. I mean, the fact that they took the ceasefire, I think, is an indicator that they know they're losing everybody, and that you're seeing protests all over the world. They're in greater danger now than they've ever been as a nation, ironically. Even though they're militaristically strong, I think as a nation, they're in the most danger now than they've ever been.
Well, I would say probably the 1948 war was the most danger.
But they won that shit hands down. It was not. They were like, whatever. Okay, we'll kick your ass and we'll take your land. It seemed like they were.
Like if Turkey invades, obviously Lebanon's already shelling them. If you were to get a handful of other nations that were to invade, and with the backing of Iran,
we can finally get rid of the Jews. That's what you were going to say,
no,
right, Clint?
That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say then it would be the most existential
conservative
threat.
Rumble commentator.
I can say whatever the fuck I want on Rumble. You guys keep trying to get me canceled from a content.
I'm on Rumble too. Don't worry. We'll take the shit off everywhere else from there. Go for it.
That's all I had to say is that I think that there's the potential. This is the whole reason I've been arguing for a ceasefire or moderation of the IDF tactics. Is just that I think that from whichever side you approach this, if you have more sympathy for the Israeli side or the Palestinian side, it doesn't behoove either side to allow the IDF to just fucking flatten Gaza, because then you have the rest of the Muslim and Arab world that's looking at them going like, okay, well, game on, dude. And if they say that, yes, Israel has nukes, but it doesn't change the fact that they're tremendously outnumbered. Just Turkey alone invading would be a fucking, absolute nightmare for them. So, and that's a NATO member too, which means that NATO ends up, disassembling itself, which is a fascinating dynamic.
I think we all make the mistake of viewing this through like a Western lens. And what we don't realize is that God just wants these two groups to fight for his attention.
So they're trying to be the chosen people.
Exactly. That's the way it's supposed to work, is that they're supposed to be there. And, sometimes whoever has the upper hand beats the shit out of the other one.
I've been going on for quite some time, but
yeah, it does. Empirically, you're probably correct. But as a peacenik that doesn't like to see kids pulled out of rubble on either side, I just want to see
You just don't understand God and the way
that's also true. I don't.
Seems to enjoy human torture in the name of a relationship with him.
God's just looking down and he's like, I feel bad for these Palestinians, but look how hot I made this Israeli bitches. What are you going to do?
Yeah, there you go.
Every time I want to smite them,
I love that Jesus now has an Israeli accent.
Yeah, right?
Oh, well,
Hey, Dad, I'm going to make you a deal, huh?
These
I do like that. Jesus
What do you think?
probably-
Do we have to crucify both left and right?
I do like that about Jesus, that he was probably most likely brown.
Yeah,
You like
for
that?
sure.
Yeah, I love that like Europeans, these Christian
they worship
anti-Semitic,
brown
whatever
people.
Europeans that are anti, people of darker shade pigmentations. Most likely, if you had an honest, crucifix, you got like a Mexican-looking Jesus up there.
How funny would it be though if he was like a albino Middle Eastern dude?
Oh, and he
That's
really was the
what-
chosen one.
That's why he went. That's why he went in the cave. He went in the cave for like 3 days because the sun was too hot and he couldn't go outside. He's like, I can't.
He wasn't killed. He was just hiding from the sun.
He's just sunburned badly. He's like, bring me some aloe, Judas. Judas, don't use all my.
He was the first great white.
Yeah,
that does make sense. It takes, as a very fair-skinned man myself, it does take me about 3 days to recover from a bad sunburn. So
yeah, right. That's what I'm
I think
saying.
we may have figured this out.
Yeah.
This was such a sacrilegious conversation. 21 minutes of pure sacrilege. This has been fantastic.
This is how you get into it. Well, we'll redeem it. We'll come back around. Look, we'll talk about some Thanksgiving stuff. Did you ever have sex on Thanksgiving, and do you think it's possible?
To have sex on Thanksgiving?
Well, not
Let's say
post-turkey.
after the meal. Yeah, after the meal. Do you think people do it?
Oh, no,
have you
you're-
done it? Is it
you're a-
possible?
You're a fucking piece of shit, or an absolute Iron Man savage if you can have sex after eating turkey. That's ridiculous.
I think that should be a badge of honor.
I don't think I've ever had sex after Thanksgiving, but as a lifelong overeater, I could totally pull it off.
Really?
Thanksgiving's not even that much of an overeating thing. For like, it's just
when
you
you're
know,
a pro.
Yeah,
I'm usually staying at my nana's house, so like to get it in at nana's is fucking pretty.
Well, I mean,
raw,
that's
dude.
part of the challenge, right?
It's
That's
on,
your
like-
merit badge.
Well, but here's the thing. You're already describing homemade girl. Like, I'm sorry, homemade.
Homemade
You're already- you're
Homemade girls. Robbie's just piecing together a mutant woman in the corner with leftover chicken and holding together potatoes. Two
already-
asparagus pieces for the vagina.
All right, you're already describing like in your house, like, okay, if I'm like in a new relationship and I'm going out for Thanksgiving, I'm not even overeating because like I'm just, what am I getting in the car with the stomach full of turkey and whatnot? So you're talking about that you're staying at the place and then you're
Yeah.
probably with your girlfriend and then you've got enough opportunities to fuck. You're not like turned on by the turkey to go, we're
Right.
definitely having sex tonight. So I feel like that's where the odds of like Thanksgiving fornication are because the bigger novelty is the overeating on Thanksgiving than the having sex with your loved one. But if you float new pussy on the table somehow, or you meet someone at a Thanksgiving meal, you're just not going to overeat.
Yeah,
You'll
that
get
Well,
that
there's
done.
like-
cousin you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like a
cousin-
second one though. A
Or
second
like
one.
a Friendsgiving, right? There's Friendsgivings
Yeah.
when you're kind of on your own and you might be trying to get it in, but I don't know. I mean, it'd be so hard. You're so bloated up. Maybe when I was a young man, I could do it. Like, I don't even know how you go out to, like, if I was dating again right now, I don't even know how I'd go to dinner and have
I
sex
don't
afterwards.
understand how women seem to have better stomachs or just more because I'm like, why are we eating now? I want to have sex later. Like this is
Yeah,
the
exactly.
worst thing that we could possibly be doing. Or like, but then something like the way sometimes I see thin women eat, and you're just like, what? Did you not eat for the rest of the week? Do you eat once a week that you can have like pancakes, eggs, and bacon just out 6 p.m. on a Tuesday? Like, what is going on here?
I'm telling you, I think I've dated numerous attractive ladies who were like constipated a lot. I think that hot chicks just eat and it just packs in their guts and they shit like once every 4 days. And half the time you're banging them and you think they're tight, and it's not that. It's just that they're so constipated. You're just dicks whacking against hardened turds in their lower intestines.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I'm
graphic
telling
as
you.
fuck.
Yeah, if we were to
telling you.
I've been with them. They're always
I've
constipated.
been with them too. I don't believe that they're always constipated. Look, here's the truth. I've lived with girls that pretended that they didn't fart or shit, and like I understand your thesis as to believing that they're constipated. I think they just wait until you're not there, and then they let loose. That's my belief. I don't know.
I
for a
like
fact.
your glamour magazine. Ladies, you want to know how to make your pussy tighter?
Yeah. Follow my 6 tips. I'm Cosmo's
no
newest
fiber. Just eat steak all day and let it pack in there. Good God. I have a terrible memory, but I guess it was novels, so I do remember this. I got road pleasure on the route to my mom's house many moons ago on Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Road pleasure is the creepiest way to say that. Can you just say road?
Yeah, roadhead. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
dude.
okay.
Are we on YouTube? I don't know what the fuck.
Road
is this
pleasure.
guy banned from ever?
Road pleasure. What was
I'm
she
getting
fingering
road
your
pleasure.
asshole
Yeah,
while
that
you're
does
trying
sound
to
gay.
drive?
That does sound gay. And I was fingering my asshole. And sometimes you got to just do what you got to do, man.
Do you remember what song was playing on the radio at the time? Or was it just talk radio?
Oh, it definitely wasn't radio at all. You absolute boomer. It was probably, I don't know, Tech 9 CD. I don't know
if I've ever nutted from Roadhead.
It's hard.
It's distracting. Yeah, you're trying not to crash the car and kill the two of you.
Right.
Yeah. You
And then
gotta have
also
a real
you
quick
really,
trigger.
or even worse is you crash the car and don't kill both of you, but your dick gets
Chopped
Bitten off.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good. Is that in
She chokes
any
to
Final
death,
Destinations?
and your loved one chokes to death on your wiener. Now you just have to live out the rest of your life, and you're not finding a
Cockless.
new later because you're cockless without your
Cockless,
loved one.
bitchless.
Yeah.
Well, think about if
By
you
the way,
were
that's
a real
great
man.
movie title. That's a great movie
Cockless,
title. Cockless
bitchless.
without your loved one.
Well, I was thinking if she is choking on a severed cock,
Starring Jenna Ortega.
give her the Heimlich.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, thinking if you have to, if she's choking on your dick, and then you got to give the Heimlich, now you got to slam your severed cock slab against her to Heimlich her, and now you're in so much pain.
That's a good question. Your dick's choking your loved one, but you're dickless. Are you? I don't know how I could pay any attention to the person who's suffocating on my cock when I'm just totally in shock that my dick's gone.
Yeah, I agree there. I mean, I'm amazed at Bobbitt.
She's like ah, and I'm just like ah.
She's pointing at her throat, and you're just pointing. It's like the Pee Wee Herman, he's pointing at his front and his back to the dance, except she's pointing at her throat and you're pointing at your cock. Da-dun-dun-dun-dun. Is Robbie frozen or just deep in thought? I think he's frozen.
High as a kite.
He's never coming back now.
The cock king. Oh man. I had no idea that's why he was called that. I thought it had to do with the Mises caucus. It's just
no, apparently not.
Cock the entire time.
He's the cock king. He also is known for repairing. If you have a cock like a Bobbitt situation, he can repair your cock. He's got little hands, and he just finds stitching to make sure it goes on smooth.
Little hands,
well,
Robbie.
We'll see if he makes it back. I'll save another Thanksgiving question for later, but let's real quick. So I've been on Twitter. And I think you've expressed the same sentiment here. Javier Milei, right? He won the presidency in Argentina. Pretty fucking amazing achievement considering the guy's running on Austrian economics, running on taking a chainsaw to the state, running on fighting social justice. You would think, though, for some people's post, that he's the antichrist to libertarianism.
Right.
Have you seen this? Give me your take on this, because it's really pissing me the fuck off.
I'll address this directly to Toad because he has made.
Thank you. That's who set off my whole post on this. By the way, fucking Toad.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I think that there's a strain within libertarianism that is purely contrarian, and there's like some sort of street cred that comes with being the most jaded, like the most pessimistic, and I'm not one of them. It just goes without saying. Like, no, you shouldn't trust him.
Right.
But they're like saying it as if it's fucking super profound. They're like, this guy first trip is going to Israel. Well, he's obviously a fraud. It's like, dude, I don't have a fucking clue what he's gonna do during his first presidential term, or I don't even know if there's more than one presidential term possible in Argentina. I don't know fucking anything about Argentina practically. All I know is that rhetorically, this guy is one of us when it comes to what he intends to do to the state of Argentina. He's going to temporarily migrate to the U.S. dollar to stem the tide of 140% annualized inflation, which is exactly what I would do if I was trying to get the economy off the mat. Then I would open it up to a decentralized currency market. He's like, everything he said, you listen to the motherfucker, he sounds just like Mises or Rothbard. Like, you can't fake that. So he obviously knows our ideology. He obviously knows how to spit that shit and get people fired up. That's fucking great. If he ends up being a con man, well then, hooray, Toad, you nailed it. A politician lied. Fucking congratulations. Like some profound claim. All right, sorry.
Right, exactly. No, it's exactly right though. He is, and look, if he's a fraud, then fine, he's a fraud. But to your point, give him the benefit of the doubt here. Let's see what he can do. Because when are we going to have an opportunity? When have we had historically an opportunity where somebody actually has a president level position, the ability to try to transform an entire nation as to our philosophical beliefs or economic beliefs?
Never.
I don't know if it's going to happen again
never.
never. And I don't know if it's going to happen again in our lifetime, for that matter.
It probably won't. So like, give the motherfucker a shot. And like,
right.
The people of Argentina have dealt with socialism and hyperinflation for fucking decades. So like, or maybe the hyperinflation hasn't been decades, but it's been a couple years now. And it's just brutal. So like they for whatever reason, they bought into his spiel, and he's going after the media. He's going after the political establishment. He's going after the central banks. This is fucking awesome. This is awesome. Yeah. He's way better than Donald Trump. And you'll hear libertarians talk about him more favorably than they will Milei. It's like, what the fuck? So look, I'm very hopeful. Obviously, I'm skeptical, but I'm very, very hopeful that this guy will go in there. He'll actually fucking shred the DEI framework, all the critical race theory framework out of academia. He'll shred all of the central banking manipulation. He'll stop playing ball with the IMFs of the world, and he'll actually give his people an opportunity to thrive. And if they do, let's just say this: if they do, if he succeeds, if he actually cuts the social or the what's it called? Social safety net.
Yeah.
And they thrive, and the economy improves, and unemployment decreases, and the average life expectancy rises, and poverty decreases. That's a fucking earth-shattering, paradigm-shifting maneuver that's happening in Latin America, which has been just overran with socialist policies for fucking decades, partially because of our CIA. And I hope, man. I hope.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where one of the biggest issues with libertarianism is that we don't have any proof of concept. Right. Exactly, we can talk about it philosophically, but we have to, other than going back to like the founding of the country where you're like, oh, look, no taxes, open free market trade, non-interventionism. Okay, well, nobody remembers that. And who knows?
Well, and then if you bring that up, they just go, "Oh, you want to bring slavery back?"
But yeah,
I mean, kind of, but no. It's all of the rest of it is what I'm actually referencing. But yeah, right. It was 150 years. Well, there was also slavery that coincided, unfortunately. So it's like this is an opportunity to see what the foundation of America could look like without the slavery aspect thrown in there. The problem is that they're coming from a terribly broken system with triple-digit inflation rates. He has like all of the odds are stacked against him already. So it's like I just don't understand why you'd be like what? Who are you protecting?
Actively seeking? Right? Yeah, actively seeking to demonize him and tear him down.
What is this? What is it like? And keep in mind the guy that he was up against was Massa, who's the by the way, funny slave reference, Massa, and he was the finance minister that was responsible for the inflation. So it's like they could have gone back into the guy who was bringing them or destroying their economy. Or they can go for the guy that's, espousing exactly what we would prescribe to try and remedy this. And it's like, I want to see what the fuck can happen, man. I do.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing, people are talking about how he went to the WEF. Well, from what I've heard, the accounts was he went and said, "Hey, I'm going to preach Austrian economics." And then wasn't invited back. So I don't understand what the connection people are trying to make there is if he's preaching something different than what these people are prescribing to us. And then on another note, I think it's interesting that Milei's out there. He definitely comes across as this kind of insane figure, right? I compared him to like Willy Wonka on a radio show I was on recently. He kind of has a Willy Wonka vibe to him in the way he acts, the way he dresses, this flaming hair, and of course, you will get nothing. Good day, sir. You get nothing. For people to get on board with that, to believe, like the people of Argentina, as you said, have been through a lot, but it takes the belief in the rhetoric, in the change, it takes a large amount of belief in that the system has to change and can change, which is something I've been talking about with libertarianism, is we have to get that sort of belief system here.
Exactly.
Right? To get people to go into this huge change, you have to have that fucking belief. And that motherfucker did it. He got them on board.
And he did it with fucking absolute savage fire.
Yep.
Which is also funny because that's all Toad has said that he wants to see. That's the whole reason he was such a big fan of Dave Smith. That's the same reason I am. Is that tell it how it is. Don't hold back. Fucking actually attack the people that are responsible for destroying our way of life, and do not sugarcoat it at all. Say it with fire. Say it with passion. Let people know that they're not alone. Let them know that they're not crazy. Let them know that there's an alternative. Like, this is exactly what we wanted to see. He did it. It won. fucking awesome. Let's see if he can actually, bring to bear his ideas. The truth is, he also doesn't have a fucking, really any hope of getting most of this stuff passed through Congress. So, the odds are extraordinarily stacked against him. He's probably going to have to behave like Bukele and kind of become a dictator temporarily to implement all of his policies, because there's a ton of people that are in,
Right.
What the fuck is the name of the nation? I'm blanking.
Argentina?
Yeah, I was going to say Venezuela. In Argentina, that are accustomed to the socialism framework, and they are basically like Antifa in that nation. And there's a really good chance that you'll see vicious riots that just try and destroy the country while he's trying to implement his stuff. So it's going to be, it's going to be astronomically challenging, and if he can prevail, it'll be earth-shattering, just as El Salvador has, demonstrated that with a bit of an iron fist early on and then liberalizing afterwards. It seems as if it's going to work for them, and I just hope that instead of pivoting immediately back towards socialism, if it doesn't work in the next 12 months, people will give him a fair shake.
Yeah, exactly, man. Well, by the way, I've gotten an update from Robbie. I don't know if he's going to make it back. His internet is just dead. It just went out. Wasn't he fighting forever years ago with his internet? Wasn't that like a big to do? I can't remember what the fucking name of the place was.
Yeah,
but
he went to war with them on Twitter like a year ago. I don't remember the circumstances.
Well, it's either his internet went out or his cum has finally dried out and cooled off, and he's just sitting in a frozen chunk on the bottom of his body, encased in it.
If I was his ISP provider, given the conversation we had for the first 20 minutes, I would have just cut his internet too. I would have been like, this guy is obviously a terrorist.
Well, dude, perfect segue. The border wall, or the Canadian border was just attacked from I think a car-based or truck-based bomb or something. I mean, it's still like the news is kind of coming out about it. This is fascinating. Is it the Canadians repatriating their syrup by any means necessary? Are we seeing the White Walkers come after us, or is as far as border security, obviously it's an issue that not a lot of libertarians agree on. I, for one, believe we have to have a border. I believe that the welfare state is the real reason for that for me. But now you do see some shit kicking up. Like, where do you fall on border security to the north?
I don't really have a firm position on this because I haven't thought about it a ton. But normally my knee-jerk reaction with any terrorist attack is that it's a false flag. But on this one, the fact that it appears that it was actually stopped at the border patrol, and
makes you think it's real.
It was put into secondary screening, and then they sped up, and then they hit something, and then it blew up. It's like, all right, that sounds like an actual terrorist attack that was thwarted. Yeah. And as of now, all we know is that the two people inside the vehicle are the only ones that died. That's also not normally how terrorist attacks that are false flags go down. So it strikes me as probably an actual terrorist attack. This is very preliminary. So if people are listening to this later and it turns out this is a totally different story. This
news broke like an hour before we're recording this podcast.
Exactly. So I just have to preface it with that, because otherwise people go like, oh, these fucking idiots. They don't know anything about this story. It's like, well, yeah, we don't know anything about it. This is like very early reports. So, but yeah, there's a lot of, if people have been paying attention, there are hundreds of thousands of people that are in the streets for the Palestinians all over the fucking world. And, it's a distinct possibility that it is someone attempting to go after the United States because we've been funding Israel and arming them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so Libertarian Podcast View says, just being reported, no explosives, just gas. So I guess it's just a lot of gas, which is, again, an odd thing to speed up when you just have a car full of gasoline too, but who knows what they're going to do. But yeah, I mean, the part of the problem with having the open borders argument as well, we are active all over the world. We are funding Israel. We are funding a war and helping to supply the war in Yemen. And we are involved in social like Africa. What's that?
The Yemen one ended, but yeah, Ukraine would be the.
Oh, sorry, you're right. Yeah, I forgot it ended. Yeah, Ukraine. We've got Ukraine right now. We've got we're active in Africa. We're active again in Syria, dropping bombs on people in the middle of trying to respond to Iraq. Yeah, to respond to these drone attacks on our bases. He made it. We're talking about the White Walkers attacking on our northern border, and this car that exploded just like an hour ago.
I live in fear of that too.
I mean, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. But yeah, there's a lot of bad actors out there, and we create more of them every single day, without a doubt.
I mean, this is the whole reason that most of us are non-interventionists, except for Austin Peterson, because we're not fucking retarded. I'm really disturbed by the fact that like we continue to behave this way despite all of the 20 fucking years of the war on terror and realizing that it was not a net positive for this nation, and yet we're now pivoting and saying Israel can do whatever it wants to defend itself. If that amounts to an ethnic cleansing of the Gazans, then so be it. I'm sure it'll be fine. The Muslim world certainly doesn't pay attention to the fact that we arm and fund these people as they, carry out these atrocities. So it'll never come back on us. Osama bin Laden's letter, don't read that. Don't think about it.
Right?
It's a bunch of leftist TikTokers that are popularizing it, so they obviously are wrong. It's like, no. The Muslim world does pay attention when we do this shit to them. They've explicitly said they fucking hate us for it, and I would like to stop because I also hate my government for doing that to them. That's my position.
Yeah. Robbie?
Well, you guys really moved away from the cum talk.
No. We actually mentioned it. We were worried that you were encased in some sort of cum cocoon at your house, and you fell like your chair fell over, but you were encased in a hardened semen shell and couldn't get out of it, kind of like a Tootsie Pop. How many licks does it take to get to the center of Robbie's cum Tootsie Pop? Is really the question.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
I've never made it without fighting.
I've tried so hard, but I've never gotten to the center.
Oh, we also were talking. Oh, here we go. We'll go back. We were talking about Javier Milei. I don't know if you have any quick take on Javier Milei. Just the libertarian.
Robbie's like, never heard of him.
Objectionism. I don't know. Always finding fault, purity test horse shit with Milei before he's even had a chance to do anything. We were just talking about how we're both fed up with it.
Nice. I haven't thoroughly looked into the guy and watched the whole thing. On the outside, it seems exciting, particularly that he was so aggressive in libertarian talking points and had such a fuck you attitude, and the fact that was popular. And that country is so backwards, and I think it sounds to me like he's playing a winning game of saying, hey, we'll take your U.S. dollars. Like, if there's anything you can do to play nice with the United States of America right now, it's going, yeah, we're all in on your dollars, because you're actually giving them what they want. So typically speaking, if you saw some libertarian come up with a pro-freedom thing, you could see why people would start calling him a terrorist or whatever else to box them out of the system and not possibly give them a win. But he's managed to go, hey, I'll be 100% on board with U.S. dollars. I'll have my whole country. You guys can inflate even more. I know other people are moving away from this thing. We'll go all in. So it seems to me like he's playing a winning hand of going, I will do exactly what the machine needs right now and can have a win from. And I would also venture to guess that as bad as our inflation is, it's not nearly as bad as theirs.
No,
so
theirs
that would
is
be
astronomically high. Yeah,
so that you know what I mean. It's almost like if you're falling down a cliff, but you're going to fall down it slower now. So it's a win for them. And I would have to imagine that if we're reintegrated with the United States, my guess is they'll be able to sell more of their oil to us.
Right.
And I wouldn't be surprised if players like the Fed are a little bit more inclined to actually start doing debt bailouts over there or lending them money, because it just means that more of the U.S. dollar is actually in use. So the bullish story for me, for libertarians right now, is that perhaps this guy actually won the election. Perhaps he actually does advance, and pull them out of what's got to be the worst rut of any society probably for the last 50 years in terms of just decline in wealth. And I think that long term, that could be a real win for, the libertarian narrative. So I like it.
Yeah.
See, Robbie's take is perfect because he's smart and he's not a fucking piece of shit like Toad.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, I don't know about the libertarian purity test. I don't know if, he has some secret other agenda. I don't know. I don't follow every aspect of politics.
Well, that's what people are going off on. Yeah,
but
that's what people are going off on. They're like, well, what if this? What if he's a secret plant? It's like, shut the fuck up.
There's enough of a...
What are you talking about?
There's enough of a win here, or a pathway to a win. It seems very exciting to me that a guy with libertarian, talking points got out there, wasn't nice about it, didn't play the leftist game, didn't try and, he was so straight and narrow of just libertarian principles. Like, no, it's theft. No, we don't have this money. Like, just really simple things that seem to be very difficult to do, and arguments that are usually difficult to win, and he was just crushing them.
Yeah.
And he's got that stupid fucking Beatles face haircut thing, but
yeah,
somehow he made it work. Austin Powers style.
Get him a one-legged wife.
He's a tantric sex coach. How fucking gangster is that?
No, is he really?
Yeah,
that's all right. That's the part that
a libertarian that can have a libertarian that's good at sex. Now I know why these guys really want to take him down. Jealousy.
You know what's funny? He did seem to have a creepy sex thing to me, where I'm like, maybe that's that Austin Powers thing that he has going on, but.
Yep.
Hopefully he fixes the country before it finds out he's fucking a lot of kids.
Robbie spent fucking 25 minutes talking about how much he comes all over the place, and now he's going to call Javier Milei some creepy fucking...
Well, you ever see that video
Seems like
of Milei ripping off the state organizations from the whiteboard? I imagine he does that, but at strip clubs, Afuera! Afuera! He's just tearing their clothes off.
Also, I was watching with the chainsaw. I was like, you're really close to other people with that thing.
Oh, the thing you don't know is that chainsaws, if you happen to hit somebody with a chainsaw, it's not like the movies. You can't just chop through them. The blade, the chain gets all gummed up with flesh. That's movie magic, man.
Got you.
All right, next thing I want to talk about. Well, actually, since it's the anniversary of JFK getting assassinated, and it's interesting. Happy anniversary to Lee Harvey Oswald. It's interesting because like a lot of this stuff's coming out now. Like I didn't know certain things, and I was made aware of this. Like, did you know that the recordings of JFK getting shot, where you actually hear gunshots, those gunshots are not real? They've been added in because the real recording did not have any gunshots in it whatsoever. There's only one recording ever made from a police motorcycle about 2 miles away.
I've only ever seen the Zapruder film, which I knew was silent, so I've never even seen the film with gunshots. Yeah,
it's the audio for it. And so they added in if you hear every gunshot.
Enthusiast for classic convertibles, I refuse to watch the film.
Just it's too harmful to the leather.
See an interior just get absolutely wrecked with the guy's blood,
and from both sides. That's the conspiracy.
I can't watch those things. It's too much.
To me, it's fairly obvious that he's shot from both the front and the rear. So I think that it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's case closed that the story that we were told was absolutely false. As to the exact details as to who was responsible, my guess, I could guess, but I don't know definitively. But I think that he made a lot of enemies based off of his rhetoric, and most likely the CIA took him out.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly seems that way. To the point about the 2 bullets, 2 entry wounds, they just had this report come out about doctors who had worked on it and had JFK on the operating table and were looking at the body because he apparently was still alive when he got to the hospital. He was still breathing. So they're looking at it and they're saying there's no way. There's an entry wound that looks like it's in his neck. There's one that looks like it's peeling the scalp back. Impossible if you're getting shot from behind unless you're wearing the world's worst hairpiece that's stuck to your skull and is blowing back in the wind. So it seems clear there are 2 shooters. Allegedly, a secret security guy comes up and says, don't tell anybody about this wound in his neck. Don't say it was an entry wound. That's an exit wound. So what made me think about this, not only is the anniversary, but when you've got a Milei type character, you do wonder if the CIA would take him out. Now, to Robbie's point, the monetary aspect of that's probably good for Milei.
I think he just played a winning hand. Like if you sat down with the mob and they're like, we're killing you, and you could say, well, I have the exact thing that you need.
Yeah.
All right, we'll hear you out. It seems like if you were watching The Godfather or any movie ever, when the villain gets the guy and he goes, or when the villain gets caught and they just play a winning hand of, well, I know I have the exact thing that you need. And they're like, fuck, now we're stuck with this person.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it feels like he just did.
He was able to offer the Treasury, the central banks of the United States, an area to offload trillions of U.S. dollars to decrease the domestic inflation, as Robbie has already detailed. I'll just give a little bit more specifics. That will keep him above ground, as far as I'm concerned.
He also just changed the narrative of that, BRICS and everyone's moving away from the U.S. dollar and decreasing dollar demand and not being able to offset the debt. I mean, as backwards as that country is, it's still a country. You know what I mean?
Well, and
it's a big country, dude. It's 50 million people.
Right, and it was one of the major economies in the region. It still could be. I mean, one of his emphases is opening up trade. Again, free the trade markets up. So, yeah, they could be a major player offloading that debt too, especially in an era where they just, the Treasury just tried to offload bonds, and it was like nobody was buying. Maybe it was like the worst ever, the worst offering they've ever had in the history of the United States. So in comes Milei. I mean, comedian timing, I guess. Now I'm sounding like a toad. He's clearly a plant, clearly a CIA plant, a Fed plant.
Well, just because he's doing what is beneficial to the U.S. doesn't mean that it's also not the right play for Argentina. Right. But prior, the old leadership was aligning themselves with China and the BRICS alliance. So, they thought that was the better play. He thinks the better play is to this is what all of these nations are put in this predicament. Like that's what happened with Ukraine. They had to decide, are we going with the Russia or the the Western alliance? and these small nations just get caught up in the crossfire. They have to choose whichever bully they think is going to be best for them. I'm not saying it's fair, but like he's opting for the U.S. dollar route, and we'll see if that prevails. And if it doesn't, then fucking all the diehard jaded pessimists can be like, "Ha ha! I knew this politician was going to be a liar and fail." It's like, well, you nailed it, dude, because that's every other politician in my entire fucking life.
Right.
So like, congrats.
All right, well, let's see. We'll wrap it up here. We got about 10 minutes left of the pod. I have two questions. One's a Thanksgiving easy question to end it. But before that, so you just had Vivek on, or Vivek, however you want to say his name.
I want to say his name how it's pronounced, you fucking bigot.
Varvik. So anyway, Varvik Ramakamala. So he was on your show. He's been on part of the problem numerous times now. As RFK's been on too. If you had to choose, right? You've got RFK or Vivek. Now, both of them could theoretically end up in the Libertarian Party race, right? RFK might encounter some pretty heavy ballot access issues. Vivek, if he does not get chosen as VP, I still think that's his angle. If he does not, I think his ego, his ambition will probably make him go, fuck it, I'll pivot to the LP. I mean, he was at Porkfest giving a talk. He's been on Libertarian podcasts. He has a lot of very libertarian views. Where do you guys fall? Would you vote for them over one of their current candidates? Would you prefer one over the other if they did come and try to run an LP?
I mean, I would prefer that neither of them run LP, to be honest. But if either of them were to, I would almost certainly vote for them, because the whole purpose of the presidential campaign was to try and get 5%, and either of them are capable of doing so. That would put us into national party status and allow for matching funds, potentially get us on the debate stages moving forward. I think it'd be phenomenal. It also might allow them to moderate some of their more bullshit positions that they've been pushing because they're participating in these other parties. Maybe we could actually see what their true beliefs are, as opposed to what the lobbyists tell them is the most fruitful thing to say. I've now talked to Vivek for probably over 3 hours in total between Twitter Spaces, Liberty Lockdown, and the show I do with Luke over on We Are Change. And he's a deep thinker. He's probably the most intelligent politician I've ever spoken to personally. He's also extraordinarily polished in a way that's off-putting, and you can't tell if he's 100% telling you the truth about what he feels, because he's just so goddamn brilliant. You can't trust the guy.
What is he, Israeli?
I'm not saying that. He's a fascinating character. I think if it were like his domestic policies, I almost entirely agree with, and then his foreign policies, I have serious issues with. But compared to the rest of the GOP field, he's probably the best of the bunch. So it's
Well, where would you fall then? So the last aspect of that, where do you fall, RFK or Vivek? If they're both running LP.
I think RFK is compromised, and I got a lot of heat for saying that. But his pivot, once he was being accused of anti-Semitism for claiming that COVID may be,
right, yeah, less likely to be caught by Asian and Ashkenazi Jews, yeah,
right, which, as far as I know, is probably accurate, but I don't know for sure because I'm, whatever. It's not the point. Point is, after that, he went on this fucking apology tour with Rabbi Shmuley and all these other cats, and then he came out, pretty strongly in favor of Israel in the most recent war. It strikes me as completely counter to what his base was about, and because it's so out of alignment with what would be politically viable for him at running as an independent. All of these people in the street. I mean, we had like 100,000 people in D.C. marching on behalf of the Palestinians. Oh, we then had a couple 10,000 or so marching for Israel. But my point being, like, all the people marching for Israel, if they're Jewish for the most part, they're going to be in alignment with Biden because he's the one that's arming and funding them. And all of the hundreds of thousands that are in the streets that are almost all leftists, they don't want to vote for Biden. RFK, all he has to do is give the same impassioned defense of the Palestinians that he gave for the Russians when it came to the dynamic of the provocations. This is what disturbs me so much about him. He's clearly capable of making the case to argue kind of both sides, which is what most of us do because we're not interventionists. We would just want to understand the full picture of the conflict and how it came to pass. He could have done that. He didn't. He aligned himself against all of the people that are in the street by the hundreds of thousands that would gladly vote for him as an independent. That's fucking weird.
Yeah. Robbie, what do you think?
Well, I just want to weigh in that Clint's entirely wrong about everything that he said, but I agree with mostly all the conclusions.
What was I wrong about? I don't know.
I would I would support Vivek in the LP. I would not support RFK.
Yeah, all right. Any more depth to that answer, or are you just going to leave it as the basting and not dive into it and cut the turkey open?
I'm concerned that Robbie and I have agreed about everything today. This is disturbing.
It's off-putting. It's very off-putting.
No, I think Clint basically covered that one with wrong points, but it's the same conclusion. So
What are the wrong points? All right, we can go to something that we don't have to get in that deep. It's a very simple question, guys. What's the best Thanksgiving pie? What's your favorite? What's your dessert?
I'm not a pie guy.
What?
Not a
Throw
pie
him
guy.
off the show.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, there's cake people and there's pie people for sure. But okay,
right.
so you're not a pie man.
I gotta advocate for pecan pie. Firstly,
Wow.
I'm a lover of pies. I eat all pies, but there's something particularly elegant and classy about the pecan pie.
Elegant?
Yeah.
There's nothing elegant about eating a gooey chunk of nuts and caramel that drips off of your face.
It's not caramel.
Yeah, you're eating a bad
uncouth
pecan
swine.
pie if it's a little bit too sloppy on the mush.
What is it? Walnut jizz? I don't know. What do you put in pecan
I have
pie?
no idea what it is. I really don't. But I have to agree with Robbie once again. This is disturbing. Pecan pie, a hot pecan pie, fresh out of the oven, fucking delicioso.
Now-
if you put some vanilla ice cream with it,
Right.
just come right in your pants.
I'm not even, which is my thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not even necessarily saying that if you put a different pie in front of me, I wouldn't eat that other pie and go, that's actually better. But I like a pecan pie. There's something about like the dryness and the way it complements. Like, I don't know. Pecan Thanksgiving to me should have pecan pie.
Let me say quickly
yes.
about the pecan pie. The crust, the base, dog shit. It makes me mad that it exists. The internal, the top, all of that, good. The
Right.
fucking the back, I just cut it off. I throw it to the dog underneath the table.
There you go.
I'm not fucking with any of that.
Sometimes I'm being a real fat fuck and I'll get like quarter pies from ShopRite, and they make a Dutch apple pie, which I've never heard of outside of that environment, but that's a particularly good pie. I don't know if you guys have you guys ever had that? It's got
of course.
Yeah, that's an excellent pie. I mean, I'm all about pies. I could talk pies all day.
I mean, pies are good.
Why
I mean,
are both of you in shape and able to eat pie? Do you guys work out like especially Brian, given he's
I work
such
out
a raging
daily.
alcoholic? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, I know. With all my alcoholism, no, I work
He
out.
stores all
I
this
work
fat
out
in his liver.
a lot. I also walk my dogs. Yeah, my liver's like a little guado. It's like fucking Total Recall, man. It crawls out of my ass at night and begs me to stop, and I'm like, get back in there, you little psychic bitch.
That was quick.
No, so I work out a lot, but I do love me a good pie. You're probably gonna hate my answer though. My favorite, and I do love pecan pie, by the way, but my favorite, lemon meringue pie.
I love a
I could
lemon
eat-
meringue pie.
Love
The thing
it.
is- all right,
It's so fucking good,
here's-
man. You're
here's the
crazy.
thing
You don't like-
about-
You
I
guys are
love
pieces of shit, honestly.
I
guys.
love a lemon meringue.
It's like
pie.
fluffed cum on top of lemon.
I also
It's amazing.
like I love a banana, like a well done like banana cream pie. To
See
me,
that I can't
those-
eat. That makes me want to
those are-
throw up.
But here's the thing.
Banana cream
Like,
pie is pretty
it's
good.
hard- it's hard-
Robbie's got nothing but good takes today. I don't know what
It's
to say.
harder to advocate for those pies. I'm not saying that they're like a Rocky Road pie is also delicious, but now like you're in a different category. Like the
not even
elegance
familiar with
of
that.
the pecan pie, along with the fact that it's hitting the flavor profile and it works, makes it better than what you didn't say key lime. What did you say? You said lemon meringue.
I said lemon meringue. I'm a lemon
Yeah,
meringue man.
lemon meringue.
The gayest
It's like
pie that exists.
It
gets a
is.
li-
Oh, it is. But that's why
it
I'm
gets a
I'm
little-
so confident in my manliness.
It gets a little bit nutty with the meringue kind of going up with the.
Yeah.
It's just that's what I'm saying. It's not that I don't like that pie. It's almost like too smooth, where it's almost like having a smoothie. You're going to remain hungry because it goes down too easy. Whereas like the pecan
Well, you're
pie,
eating
you
it
gotta-
after you just gorged on.
Right,
This
the
is
pecan
this is the
pie-
memoir of an old fatty. God,
I'm
Lisa,
saying is-
I don't like a pie that I am not
You
filled up
gotta-
after I eat the pie. You know, I need a
No, but
hearty pie.
What I'm saying, the pecan pie, you got the chew. You gotta like fight it a little bit to
You're
eat
using
it,
a straw in your lemon meringue. Actually, that could be
which
fun.
adds to the experience, the crackling.
I
Like,
just snort it like cocaine.
Yeah.
That's how I take the meringue down on my
Dude,
pie.
but that's it.
You
Like
could-
I love lemon products, but like a lemon square that's done well is better to me than a lemon meringue pie. There's just something about the texture and look of eating the lemon meringue pie that's not elegant.
I think lemon meringue pies are exclusively for homosexuals, and I'm disappointed both of you like it.
I'm bringing them back.
Well, you could bring sexy back while you're at it. I don't give a fuck. It's still gay. It's like becoming gay just because you want to be able to golf with the person you're fucking. It's just a terrible thing to do to yourself.
Is this a new phrase you're inventing? Becoming gay because you're trying to
golf with the guy that you're banging.
Is this a stereotype? I'm not familiar.
It's like you're not even attracted to men, but you just you really want to have a golfing buddy, so you just start banging dudes. It's like
you could just go play golf.
It's not gay. It's not gay if you jerk a guy off with the glove on when you're playing golf.
That makes sense.
Look, I'll
That's
put it
a
like
barrier.
this. My mom absolutely loves all things lemon, and
I thought you were going to say gay.
I thought you were going to say lesbian.
My mom. Look, I'll put it like this. My mom's a total homo, and
Well, she's meringue pie like this. Goes right to the bottom, straight to the bottom.
I did not need that visual. Good God, man.
Oh, you finished this mom story or what? That's all right.
That was it, dude. My mom loves fucking things that have lemon in them, and I think she's like the gayest person I know. She's straight, but she's just if she was a dude, she'd be the gayest dude. Does that make sense?
So
I
if
don't know
I
if that
put a
makes
lemon
sense.
on my ass, would your mom have sex with me?
Probably.
Nice.
All right. I can think of no better way to end this Thanksgiving Bukkakke. Come Thanksgiving.
Mom will fuck anything with a lemon in it.
Gravy blasting. Well, you heard it here first. Clint's mom will fuck Robbie on the next live show a year from today. Robbie, prime your asshole for that lemon. Bleach it if you would. We don't need Jenna Ortega style dark buttholes on camera. And don't forget, if you want to find out what somebody's butthole is, how dark it is, contact Robbie at thebutthole.psychic.com. He will be able to tell you any depth of color of a butthole. Just show him a picture of that person's face, and it's a done deal.
Hell yeah, that is my specialty.
He's like the David Blaine of perversion.
All right, guys, tell everybody where to find you, where to hear you, where to see you, all that good stuff. Robbie, kick it off, and Clint will wrap it up.
Yes, Run Your Mouth podcast. Check it out Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. Sometimes, not always. And then going to do the Shell on December 8th and 9th, up with Dave.
The gas station?
This Friday. No, it's the Libertarian spot up in New Hampshire. Got a little clubhouse going, and might do another end-of-year thing, so be on the lookout for that, and then more dates coming soon.
When you come through Miami, holler at me. We got the live shows we're doing at thebestpoliticalshow.com. It's also all one word, We Are Change, over on YouTube and Rumble. The way it works is that from 7 to 8 o'clock, it's on all platforms, Twitter, everywhere, Facebook. And then we cut it off at 8, and we go for an hour, 8 to 9 o'clock Eastern, on Rumble exclusively. We Are Change, all one word, and it's fucking crazy. We say whatever the fuck we want. It's great. It feels like we've been unleashed and allowed to actually think freely and speak freely. It's fucking beautiful. So I hope people will check that out. It's doing really well. We're doing like 150,000 views per episode. It's fucking crazy.
Damn, nice.
And I think that the sky's the limit. We've only been doing it for a fucking month, so it's going to be a really fun ride. Got some massive guests coming up here soon, and obviously Liberty Lockdown is my flagship, and I would appreciate subscriptions over on YouTube or Rumble. That's it. At Liberty Lockbot on Twitter.
There you go. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Wonderful to reconnect with you again. There's the Thanksgiving tradition that needs to continue. Yeah. Guys, from me, Brian McWilliams, from the Lions, the Liberty Network, from Clint, from Robbie, and from Mean Age Daydream, keep those electric eyes on me, babe, and keep that ray gun to my head. Gobble, gobble, you greedy motherfuckers. Enjoy your holiday.